we were building a house.
Mm.
And Louie loved to touch things and find out how they worked, and he'd build them and tear them apart, you know, figure how they, you know.
Yeah.
And so we'd go to the lamp place to buy lamps, you know, and fixtures and stuff for our house.
Cool.
And he kept touching stuff, and I said, because they had these $1,000 chandeliers hanging down from the ceiling.
You don't want him to hang on.
And I said, Louie, and he'd go by and he'd touch them and he'd try to feel what they are. And I said, Louie, don't, you know. And I said, if you don't, I'm going to duct tape your arms. Sure enough, he wouldn't. Brought him out the car and I ripped duct tape. And walked him back in. That was before. Now I get arrested for that. And then the other thing is he would like to collect things. He had this little white Volkswagen that he'd sit on and scoot around the steering wheel. He'd scoot. And the trunk opened up like this. And it was awesome. It was awesome. So I couldn't find my wallet. Couldn't find my keys. I couldn't find a lot of things. And I had to go to work.
Uh-huh.
Searched everywhere.
Seriously?
Open up the trunk.
Like a ferret.
He gathered
all the important things.
Yeah.
To get in his car to go to work.
And number 3, we were laying in bed one day, and Rose said, he's got the TV on. Because he had an end table and a little black and white TV in his bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
So I got up. She says, I'm not going. You go find out what he's doing. It's making me mad. He's got the TV on so loud. So I got up, went in there, turned around, came back, laid back in bed. She said, well, what is it? Got the TV on. Well, did you tell him to shut off? I said, no. Well, what's he doing? He's sitting there in his rocking chair. He's got his feet up on the nightstand. He's watching cartoons. He's got a Coors sitting next to him, and he's got a bag of chips. What else do you want?
Of course.
Because the night before, Grandpa and I were sitting on the couch eating chips and drinking beer, watching TV.
With your feet up on the coffee table.
So he thought that was cool.
That is pretty cool.
Yep. Let me keep going.
Sure.
He was a joy. I mean, we would say stuff, and then he'd walk around the corner, go back to his room, and we'd talk. We gotta stop doing this. And all of a sudden, he'd put his hand around the corner and go, "You guys talking about me again?"
I would really do that? Are you serious?
Can we keep going?
I remember the one.
Again.
I remember the one.
We were sitting on East Paris, getting ready to pull out.
This is the one that I remember.
Onto.
You're telling me this story.
Onto the Beltline. It's a real busy street.
Okay.
So we're sitting there, and I'm getting ready to pull out, and this guy comes around me and pulls out in front of me. I mean, like I wasn't moving fast enough, so he pulls out in front of me, and he looks at me, "I fucking cut you off!" He never got that from me. Mom always swore. Mom always swore, so.
Yeah. I get it.
And he's sitting just before a car seat, so he's sitting between the two seats because his arm on each armrest like this, like. He was something else. Then, we were building the house, and the workman said, you got a smart kid.
Oh.
I said, what do you mean? Well, he walked around, we watched him, he was walking around the car and everything, and he popped the trunk from the inside, he got in, and he pulled the trunk down. And we thought, oh man, we got to get down out of here. Pretty soon we hear him, he pulls the cord on the inside, and gets out, everything's fine.
That was when you were building the house?
You were just hanging out in the trunk for fun?
So he locked himself in the trunk, and they were worried that he was going to get trapped and stuff. So no fear, no worry, no worry.
Well, they make those little tags glow in the dark.
Not in this Honda. This was back in the
late 80s.
Yeah,
it was an 86 Accord.
It was an 86 Accord.
And I remember that was probably a different time, but I remember crawling into the trunk, playing around in the car with Brad, and I was shut in the trunk, and I couldn't get out. Because that was the first. That must have been the first time that I was in there, and I remember being in the trunk and sort of panicking, and I was looking around at what was going on with the trunk and the latch and stuff like that, and I was like, there was something because I knew that he had to unlock it.
He de-engineered it,
right? And so I just was like, I grabbed this cable and pulled it, and the thing opened up.
So you actually remember that moment?
Yes, I do.
Wow.
Yeah, it was weird.
I'm surprised that being that young, you could calm down in your panic and be productive.
Yeah. I trying to remember what else. I made a lot of comments at the wedding. Thanked a lot of people for him growing up.
That was such a good speech. I know. Not a dry eye. And a good speech.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Really was.
But who else? What else was funny? God, he was just a barrel of laughs.
There was
Brad,
something about...
Brad would just. We went to friends of ours, Schwartz's, and Josh was his age. He's your age, isn't he? Or is he your month?
He's like a year younger than me. Or
I think a year younger, but he's comes from big stock, 6'4" dad, big
Yeah.
guy, and he's what was it? We were over to their house, and they lived in kind of a rough neighborhood, and they had a neighbor boy.
That was before Caledonia?
Yeah, they were living in Cutlerville area.
Oh, okay. Anyway, go ahead.
And Josh come running back, and he said, Dad, he says, whatever the kid's name was, throwing a knife at a board. And come to find out you were holding the board. It was a big piece of wood, and you were holding the board, and he was throwing a knife at the board.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't remember that.
So, God, what else? God, he was a
You
funny.
almost light the field on fire?
Oh yeah,
That was older though.
He was older. He knew better on this one.
Well, I
He
didn't
was
do
with-
anything, to be fair.
No,
I was there.
He peed on it to try to put it out, and then he said, "Oh, that's what he told the fireman. That's what the steam was from because we peed."
So this was like a undeveloped part of a development behind a church. And
In
there
the
was, like,
barn. Yeah.
and it was in like November or something like that, and so the leaves had fallen off the trees, and so you could see all the way through this like wooded area. And I was hanging out with some questionable kids, I think.
But one of them is an Olympic wrestler,
Who's an Olympic wrestler?
Johnny Warren.
Mike Warren's an Olympic wrestler.
Who's the one that you was your age?
Jeff Horrigan.
No.
They both were.
Jeff Horgan and Mike Warren. Who's his brother?
Oh, his older brother.
His older brother.
Yeah, totally.
He's the Olympic wrestler.
He was like at U of M when we were in middle school doing the wrestling program.
Okay.
there.
Warren went to boot camp.
Yeah.
His mom sent him to boot camp because he couldn't be handled.
Right.
So there were leaves on the ground.
Oh, sorry.
So. So they were just we were all hanging out and walking around the woods or something like that. We found this grate, like what you would see on a grill cover or something like that. And so they.
It set the stage too. It was Saturday. We were getting ready to go to church.
Oh really? I didn't realize it was that.
Yeah.
So this is like in the early afternoon, right? Because the mass was at like 5 or something.
Mass was 5.
And I was gonna stay with Busha that night.
Probably.
Yep. And. So funny. So we were all hanging out back there, and they got this great idea since there was a grate, and there were
Yeah, let's get
the
your
woods.
house on fire.
How old were you then?
I don't know. This is like middle school, 6th or 7th grade, probably is when I was hanging out with those guys. And so they wanted to start like a little campfire or bonfire or something like in the
I
woods.
never heard the background to this. I only heard the fire department comment about it.
So look, I'll just tell you. So we got a little thing going, and it was just kind of smoldering. And I didn't, because it was so cold, you could see your breath out, right? And there was not a lot of snow on the ground, but it was all barren because the leaves in the trees were dead. And so we're just doing whatever there, and there was like no real fire or anything. And then all of a sudden we see a fire truck pull up because it was kind of close to a fire station.
Yeah, like
And
a
so,
block.
this fire truck pulls up. It didn't have its sirens on or anything. We see these fire guys get out in like, all their full gear, and we sort of panic. So then we go back into Mike's house, who was kind of in his backyard, and then I left and went home. After that, we were kind of like freaked out because somebody called the fire department. And when I got home, I think you had gotten a phone call.
They called me already.
And you knew the chief, the fire chief.
Yeah. I knew a lot of people there. Police department.
Yep.
Fire chief.
Yep. And we got in trouble. And so what we said, we tried to. This is funny because I remember being with Mike and John.
Found a fire.
And like trying to corroborate our story ahead of time. Be like, we were peeing. It's so cold. But steam came up, and that's what we saw.
from a block away.
It was like 2 blocks.
Well, that's even worse, Louie. I gave you the benefit of the doubt.
So what was okay?
So then we had to go to the fire
I'm not gonna-
department. Then we had to go to the fire department, and he had to get his ass handed to him by the fire guy.
Yep, and we just took it.
Took it like a boy, man. And how about the time you were shoplifting?
Oh yeah, I stole a candy bar.
Stole a candy bar from
And you knew the store
California.
manager at this grocery store,
Livestock.
and they saw me take it.
No. Your
You
mom seen the candy bar in your pocket and asked you, and you said you took it, and she said, "Take him back right now."
So you know what I did after that, right?
No.
I would slide in candy bars into the groceries that you were getting, and you wouldn't notice.
So we paid for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, did you know the story you told the guy?
No, what did I say?
A voice in your head told you to take it.
Are you serious? That's what I said?
Why would I make that shit up?
I don't know. I said a voice in my head.
A voice told me to take
Well, I mean
it.
that's kind of true, right? Though, when you're that age, why
only
would you take something?
Only you.
Right?
I mean,
Yeah.
and the thing
It's
is,
explainable.
the thing
right?
is,
The devil.
The devil's
Louis
hoping to
would
The devil did
tell
it.
these stories, and had these beautiful blue eyes and these dimples right here, and he'd bat them, and everybody would go
He
like,
still gets
He
away with
still
stuff.
gets
I
away
know.
with
Come
stuff.
on, you
And-
guys are.
He got us when we were stranded trying to come home for Christmas one time in Minneapolis in a huge snowstorm. And there's people lined up and people on the phones,
Really?
and no one was getting flights out. We thought we were gonna have to stay the night. I'm like, go to the counter and flirt. Comes back, we're on the next flight.
Now, did we go into grade school? Tell you about the jokes in grade school? Louis was, like I said, well ahead of his time.
I remember this.
Where's
Miss
the-
Beswick in 4th grade.
That's one of them. I got 3 of them.
Okay.
We're sitting at Louis' godfather's house, and
This is Casey.
yeah, and Mike Cook's telling a joke at the table, and he's getting all animated and all giddy and everything else, and he realizes that Louis is standing next to him in the chair, like you're sitting here. Louis standing there, but we're a lot closer. And I looked at Mike, and Mike goes, "Oh, crap," and he gets ready to talk. He was telling a joke about a pig, and he gets to the bad part, and I said, "Mike," he goes, "Oh, okay." Louis grabs his head, he says, "What happened to the pig?" Yeah. And then in Miss Beswick's class,
This was pretty funny.
this is hilarious.
I remember
She said
Learning
you gotta.
a joke.
She said you gotta have pencils. We're taking tests. You gotta have enough pencils. I don't want you out of your seat. What?
this was 3rd grade, but keep going.
Okay. So here's Louis. He's up out of the seat. Goes to the pencil sharpener. Miss Beswick said, "I am so mad. I just got up." This was at conferences. I found out about it. I got up in front of Louis and I said, "Louis, you've got to get back to your seat. You have pencils. I told you to have enough. Blah 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 blah." And she's going on and on and on. And he says, "Well, I broke my lead. I gotta have." "Well, sharpen your pencil and get back to your seat." He stood there, wouldn't move. Says, "Louis, did you hear the thing I said? Sharpen your pencil and get back to your seat." Wouldn't move. "Louis, why aren't you moving?" "You're standing on my sock."
I kept taking my shoes off. Apparently.
She got out. She
class.
said I politely got off the sock, proceeded to go outside in the hallway, and I just peed myself. I was laughing so hard. Another teacher came out of the other room and was just. She said, "Louis comes to class and tells for show and tell and tells a joke."
I told jokes?
The class is doing this. And I gotta walk out because I'm laughing so hard I can't contain myself.
I remember telling a fourth. So
we had to be careful what we told.
I remember watching a. This might sound bad. It was an
Or?
it was an HBO comedy special when I was in 4th grade. It was a Rodney Dangerfield special.
Oh.
Other comedians on it. We recorded it and taped it
Well, I'm sure we did. We had
because I watched it before. And one of the guys told this joke that I told my 4th grade teacher, and it was, how can you tell when you're old? Remember this?
Wasn't it that your balls hang in the water's cold?
When you're sitting on the toilet and your nuts are hanging in the water. And I told this to my 4th grade teacher, apparently.
And scene.
That's more.
Yeah, but let me know if you just want to do make
wanna
this all
tell
night.
me?
You want? Okay.